What's up, guys? Today I bring you one of the most prolific cars of all time. This 2002 Toyota Corolla. Let's go ahead and get started. This body style Corolla is known as the E110 generation. It came out in 1998 for the US and ended production. This was the final year, 2002. I think that these wheels are the best wheels for this car. These silver wheels with the little black center caps that have the Toyota logo on them. As you can see, it's silver, like a lot of these were. The name Corolla is pretty interesting. I didn't actually know this until I was doing research for this video, but it's actually Latin for small crown, because Toyota likes to name their sedans after the Toyota Crown. You can see it has black door handles. This wheel is a slightly different color than all the other ones because this one's been replaced. And the paint on the car needs help. And the headlights are a little clouded. But overall, it's not in horrible shape. Definitely seen worse. And you've got the radio antenna right here sticking out. It's a very simple design. Very inoffensive, bland. Boring, doesn't stand out, but it works. Moving on now to the interior, and in the interior there really isn't much. It's got a gray cloth interior, not an extensive use of nice high quality materials. The door upper's plastic. There is a nice center carpeted portion in the middle of the door. The dashboard's plastic. There's a lot of plastic in here, but it's very Toyota. It's all durable and functional. The center console, you got a nice clock up here, which you can actually see at night, and you can't see the clock in my Accord at night. Got your hazards. Maybe this was traction control. You got this radio, which has a cassette player, which is nice because you can hook up a cassette adapter. Your really simple HVAC controls with a giant AC button, which I like. Moving down, you got this storage cubby, and this door isn't broken, and these doors break on all of them. These probably really terrible cup holders, some change, the shifter, which is really easy and simple, more change, park and brake, more change, and then a little storage compartment that has even more change, and another cup holder, which is broken. The other door, got the same door panel treatment. You do have manual windows in this car, which might be better depending on your preference. Got a glove box, which isn't damped, it just flies open. And then you got a very basic four-spoke steering wheel, your wipers off to the right, nothing abnormal there, and then your headlights and turn signals. Again, nothing unusual. Over on the left, you got your gauge illumination right here. Even more change, a vent, and then this little storage cubby right here, which would be perfect size to store like an apartment key card. Now, this door handle is broken. And if you watched the video I made of my roommate's 1998 Toyota Camry, I griped about Toyota door handles in that video. And it's same thing here. Like, everything else about these interiors is so functional and durable except for the door handles, and I don't understand that. They break on all of them. And this car does have power locks, which is nice. Let's go and check out the back seat real quick. Alrighty, the back seat. It's a back seat. Got all the same manual windows and materials back here. And obviously there isn't a huge amount of space. This seat is all the way back, and my knees are digging into the seat. The seat is reasonably comfortable. If this seat was moved forward, I'd be able to sit comfortably back here. There's enough headroom. You know, it's fine. There's really not much to say about it. Give you a view of the dash. The layout's fine. I don't mind it. And it's fine. Everything about it's fine. It's very forgettable. Moving on now to the trunk. There is a trunk popper in the driver's side footwell. And the trunk is reasonably spacious. I could probably fit a few bowling ball bags in here. Probably a little bit smaller than the trunk in my Accord. It's not too bad. Got your rear speakers back here, which look easy to change, maybe. There's really not much to say about it. Just the trunk. I'm sure there's a spare tire under there. It's a nice solid thud. And now it's time to check out the engine. Here we go. This car does have a check engine light on, which I'll discuss later. And this is the hood release. Because it's broken. But it works. It gets the hood open. So this car has the famous or infamous 1ZZ FE engine. 1.8 liter, 122 horsepower at 5,600 RPM, and 120 foot-pounds of torque at 4,200 RPM. It's just an engine. When you think of Corolla, you think of the byword for reliability, but these engines have problems. They have 3 problems. They have various oil leaks, problems with the ECM, and one massive issue that I'll get into while I'm driving it. But that massive issue has to do with the burning of oil. And this car has a few issues that are unique to this car, like an exhaust leak and various other things. And the transmissions you could get for this car were a 3-speed auto, a 4-speed auto, and a 5-speed manual. And this car has the 3-speed auto. And now, let's go drive it. Alrighty. My messy hair and I are driving the Corolla. Now I'm going to start off this driving portion by talking about the issues that are unique to this specific car. And the biggest of those issues, you may or may not be able to hear it, this car has a fairly substantial exhaust leak. It is leaking it's leaking near the manifold. I'm not sure if it's leaking near the block or not. But it has a fairly substantial exhaust leak, which makes it sound hilarious and makes it smell like a lawnmower, which is pretty hilarious. And the check engine light is on because the catalytic converter is bad. Maybe you can hear the exhaust leak. But the exhaust leak also causes other weird things to happen. You know, it causes it to idle like junk and various other nonsense. But as I'm sitting here now, this Corolla has 159,741 miles on it, which for one of these things is not very much. But this car has been sitting for a very long time. Like, this is me filming this video is the first time it's been properly driven in many months. The owner of this car also has the blue 2006 Toyota Prius that I reviewed a couple weeks ago, and that's his main car. And he doesn't really drive this thing very much. You might be able to hear the exhaust leak. Oh, it's hilarious. Guess we should talk about the engine now. Get into the major problem, the burning of oil problem. These engines have a wonderful design flaw where the pistons are too small. And in order to attempt to mitigate this, Toyota just put bigger piston rings in there to try to fill the gap. And no matter what you do, no matter how meticulous you are with changing the oil, those piston rings wear out, and there's nothing you can do about it. So every 1ZZ made before 2006 burns oil. It's just the way it is. Some of them are more egregious than others. The worst one that I've ever seen went through a quart every 200 miles. This one's not quite that horrible. This one will go, 500-600 miles before consuming a quart of oil. But if you're gonna buy one of these things and you're looking for an E110 Corolla, that is something that you need to look out for and just be aware of. The only realistic fix is a full engine rebuild, and who the hell is going to do that on one of these cars? It's not worth it. And I suspect that issue has taken a lot of these cars off the road, because you don't see a whole lot of these E110 Corollas anymore. By 2006, the E130 was out, and that kind of went back to Toyota's reputation for solid, durable, reliable engineering. The E130 is also massively overpriced and a victim of mindless brand loyalty, but that's a conversation for another video. But driving dynamics of this car: 120 horsepower, 122 foot-pounds of torque, 3-speed auto. It's not a recipe for performance. Even though this car does not weigh very much, it's between 2,400 and 2,500 pounds, depending on spec. It's slow. It's really slow. It doesn't feel dangerously slow. You can confidently make a left turn across traffic and merge onto a busy highway or something like that. But it's slow. It is very slow. It does not have a lot of power. It actually does feel slower than my Accord, which I was surprised. I was expecting to come into this thinking, oh, it'll be slow, but it'll probably be faster than my Accord. But no, it's slower than my Accord. It's no easy feat. I'm sure you can hear every time I give it any sort of throttle whatsoever, the exhaust leak sings the song of its people. Yeah. This is maybe half throttle. I mean, it's fine. It's fine. The 3-speed automatic, it's pretty much exactly what you expect. I'm sure it's very durable and it'll put up with a lot of bad habits, but it's rather limited. It's as limited as 3-speed automatic get, 3-speed autos get. It's smooth though. I'll give it that. It'll probably go forever, even no matter how bad your habits are, no matter no matter how often you change the fluid. And if you were a normal person, this car would be all right. There's a comment on the regular car reviews video of this generation of Corolla that I think is very poignant. It's like the Toyota Corolla is the car you recommend for everybody but yourself. And I think that's self-fitting, because I tell people to buy these things, not this generation specifically, but I tell people to buy Toyota Corollas. But they wouldn't be my first choice. But that being said, I did consider buying this car until the owner was willing to sell it for me for cheap, and I was considering buying it until I found out how much was involved in getting it fixed and getting it to pass emissions and all that stuff. So, should you buy one of these things? If you're one of those people who will remember that it consumes a quart of oil very frequently and is willing to put up with that, willing to check the oil regularly and spend the money to put oil in it and still change the oil, then yeah, everything else about it is fine. But if you're a person who just puts it into D and goes, then no, I would not recommend buying one of these things. An E110 Corolla specifically. I have considered buying this very specific car though, and you know, I look for these things from time to time with stick shifts because I do like them. They're a lot less egregious than the generations that came afterwards, and I want to get my hands on one of those to talk about why I think like that. But with that being said, I don't want to keep this running on for too long. I appreciate you guys tuning into this video. If you like what you saw here, please subscribe. My goal is to have 1,000 subscribers by the end of the year. And I will see you guys in the next one. Take care. Thanks again.